This is KGW News at Sunrise.
Abortion is absolutely top of mind with voters right now here in Oregon and across the nation.
That landmark decision to overturn Roe v. Wade is steering voters in local, state, and national elections. This morning, the importance of the issue from people supporting the right to choose.
It was a busy weekend for rescue crews on the coast. Between Saturday and Sunday, they pulled more than a dozen people out of the ocean in Seaside and Cannon Beach. Sadly, we also have the details of a rip current rescue where 2 people were pulled from the water, but only 1 survived. Plus,
it's like a train.
It keeps going.
Wow, that is the coolest thing ever.
So it's kind of hard to see, but you're looking at cell phone video people took up into the sky in downtown Portland. Tons of people reported seeing these streaks of light this weekend. It was not ET or aliens, but satellites that could soon provide internet access to remote areas around the world. Coming up, more photos and the explanation of what we saw from a local space expert.
closer to Earth this morning. We have flowers coming out of the ground. How about this? Beautiful shots all morning long coming your way, courtesy of Swan Island Dahlias in Canby. So one of the headlines of this story is the fact that they are in Canby, even though the name says Swan Island. We'll get more on that coming up. But the key information here, there is a Dahlia Festival happening through the end of September, and it is free to check out. So we'll have more information coming your way here in just a few minutes.
So many colors out there. Love those little pom-poms. It was a beautiful weekend. Kind of cloudy and cooler Saturday.
Wasn't that
and
nice?
Then it was felt wonderful.
I mean, after days and days
Yes.
and days of assaulting sunshine and 90-degree heat, it's like,
easy to enjoy all those weekend activities in that kind of weather.
Yes,
What do you have for
exactly.
today, though?
So today, brief morning clouds, otherwise full sunshine and not as hot as yesterday. Yesterday actually wound up getting all the way up to 91 degrees at PDX. All right, we're 67 right now under a mostly clear sky. I did want to point out for folks east of the Cascades, in portions of Wasco and Gilliam and Morrow counties, we do have some thunderstorms firing this morning and even some lightning here. Well, obviously, thunderstorms produce lightning, right? Duh, Chris. Out towards the Blues and the Wallowas, especially, that lightning has been somewhat prolific early this morning. So that is an area of increased fire concern today. West of the Cascades, we're clear for the most part, or if not, we will be clear and we'll be a little more comfortable today. Yesterday, 91. Today, we shoot for a high of about 86, guys.
All right, Chris, thank you. Hundreds gathered yesterday afternoon to rally for abortion rights. Advocates were outside of Revolution Hall protesting for a woman's right to choose.
With the November election less than 3 months away, this is one of the key issues on the minds of local voters. KGW's Blair Best has more from Southeast Portland.
Rising out of fear and anger is hope.
We're here because we are hopeful for a future where people are able to make their own medical decisions and access the care that they need.
Earlier this summer, the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, a person's constitutional right to an abortion.
And we need to continue to show up. If the last 6 years have shown us anything, we can't take anything for granted.
Among those showing up for abortion rights Sunday morning was 79-year-old Ellen Weedham.
I want to support the cause.
Weedham spent most her life protesting and advocating for a woman's right to choose.
I go to as many of the events that are pro-choice events that I can.
She says she still waits for the day when the fight for reproductive rights is over.
It's a shame to me that we still feel we have to do this. You know, I mean, it seems to me that abortion should be legal in the whole country and there shouldn't be any fighting about it anymore.
What rises to the surface is like courage and determination.
Melora Golden follows in Weedham's footsteps.
My mother taught me about justice, and we have a lot of political freedom, even though some people don't feel like it. We have a lot of power in this country to impact the rules that govern us, and we have a responsibility to take it.
Looking ahead to November, abortion is beginning to shape the upcoming election. According to recent polls, more and more Democratic voters here in Oregon say abortion is the most important issue when it comes to picking a new governor.
I'm not surprised. Oregonians have time and time again shown up at the ballot box to vote to protect abortion care here in Oregon.
In a recent survey by DHM Research, which looked at 500 likely Oregon voters, 16% of Democrats rated abortion as the #1 issue they'll take into consideration when voting for governor. That's up from 1% back in January. As for Republicans, just 5% of voters considered abortion their top issue, compared to 4% back in January.
Abortion is absolutely top of mind with voters right now here in Oregon and across the nation.
Abortion advocates want to remind people, regardless of the Supreme Court ruling to overturn Roe v. Wade, abortion is legal in Oregon. However, according to recent polling, 58% of Oregon voters support banning abortion in the third trimester, unless to save the mother's life.
This is our chance to really come together as an entire movement and recognize that Roe was never enough. And the only way that we are going to get true reproductive freedom for everyone is by recognizing that until everyone is free, none of us are.
I tried to do something in my little way, which is all people can do, just get out there and do something.
In Southeast Portland, Blair Best, KGW News.
Now to an update on a hit-and-run case that seriously injured a Vancouver man. Last Tuesday, Joey Lutz was hit by his own car while it was being stolen. Detectives ended up finding that car Friday near Seattle. The suspect was arrested for robbery and first-degree hit-and-run with injury. He'll be sent down to Clark County for arraignment. The victim's family tells us Lutz had started his car that morning in Vancouver and he ran back inside for something, but when he came back out moments later, somebody was taken off in his car. The driver hit Lutz and sped off.
He was unconscious. He was bleeding severely from the head. Another neighbor lady stopped to help. He started vomiting. They had to roll him onto his side. And they just had to take care of him until the medics got here.
Lutz had to have emergency brain surgery. A family member tells us Lutz was recently able to open his eyes and talk to his mom. The victim's family started a GoFundMe account to help with his medical costs. We have a link to that on our website.
Here's a look at some other local headlines this morning. The Lynn County Sheriff's Office is investigating a small plane crash that happened yesterday afternoon. Authorities say the single-engine plane crashed around 2 o'clock just east of Scio. The pilot of the plane died. The only other passenger was the pilot's wife, who was airlifted to Salem Memorial Hospital with life-threatening injuries. On the coast, first responders are reminding people about the dangers of rip currents and drop-offs after a weekend full of water rescues along the northern part of the Oregon coast. Seaside Fire and Rescue says they had to pull at least 16 people out of the water between Saturday and Sunday. One of those rescue efforts happened on Saturday afternoon when 3 Seaside lifeguards were trying to save 2 people caught in a rip current. Only one of those 2 people survived. Seaside Fire and Rescue says the ocean is warmer than usual right now. More people are heading farther out into the water, so they're reminding people to stay closer to the beach and check with lifeguards about the safest places to swim. Finally here, check out this photo from a viewer that shows a car fire on Highway 26 that spread to a grassy area nearby. So this was yesterday afternoon, right around 1:30. All westbound lanes on 26, right there near the Oregon Zoo exit, wound up being closed for more than an hour as fire crews got those flames under control. And that's a look at some of this morning's local headlines.
All right, before we get to the forecast, take a look at this. Quite a few people sent in photos of the sunset last night. Look at that sky. This one comes from Bruce Stelmach in Happy Valley. Amazing pictures. Brandon Bachman, we can always count on you. He sent in this one from Northeast Portland. Look at the colors on that. And finally, another viewer sent in one. Maybe.
There. Fog on Saturday morning.
From Hillsboro, pinks, purples, blues. What colors? That's awesome.
I saw none of that. I mean, I was up and about when the sun was setting yesterday, but apparently my neighborhood wasn't as cool as those.
It's just clear as could be.
Maybe I was looking down. I don't know, Chris. Let's focus on today, though.
Let's look up. Let's give you another. What did you do over your weekend? Let's show you what Dan Lawler did. He was out in the Cascades. Beautiful shot of South Sister there. Dan, thank you for sharing this. Gorgeous shot of one of Oregon's higher volcanoes. If you want to go ahead and give him a follow on Instagram, maybe you'll find something you want to hang on your wall, right? That's a cool shot. All right, let's switch gears real quick. We did mention some thunderstorms across portions of eastern Oregon, and here we go. In fact, following right up through Wasco and, well, right over Highway 97, actually. So up towards like Biggs and Biggs Junction here. We've got some thunderstorms popping this morning. We also have some along Interstate 84 a little farther east out towards Hermiston and Pendleton, LeGrand. Lots of lightning strikes out there. So there is higher fire danger in that part of the state. A red flag warning is in effect through 8 p.m. today. Even after the thunderstorms wane, there is still the potential for some gusty west winds out there. So with that in mind, high fire danger in northeast Oregon today. Hopefully those winds will ease off a bit tomorrow. For the rest of us, we are generally clear. Futurecast shows a mostly sunny sky, and despite the thunderstorms this morning in eastern Oregon, you can see that those lift on out of here later this afternoon. Same story as we go into tomorrow. I put the little blue arrow on here, by the way, to show that that marine push is still with us for tomorrow as well. So a couple of fairly comfortable late August days, highs in the low 80s, pretty comfortable stuff, right? As we go into midweek, though, we do warm it up. A quick snapshot of Wednesday here in Futurecast has 90-degree heat returning to the Willamette Valley in the Portland-Vancouver metro area, and likely triple-digit heat in the East Gorge. This is Wednesday and probably again on Thursday as well. So 2 days of heat and then things back off. All right, right now it's 67 degrees at PDX, and the plan for today has us topping out at 86 this afternoon. The clouds tomorrow will be very, very brief, but I do think we'll see some in the morning and then they burn off and we're back into the mid-80s. 2 hot days in the forecast, 92 on Wednesday, 94 on Thursday. Guys, I can tell you that 90-degree heat looks less intense and doesn't last as long as it was just a couple of days ago. So we get a little break in that. And of course, next weekend is Hood to Coast. And it looks like the weather's going to shape up quite nicely for Hood to Coasters.
When it comes to 90-degree intensity, less is more. We'll take the less intense, Chris. Thank you very much. A lot of people talking about this. You could easily see these Starlink satellites all across the area over the weekend when you looked up into the night sky. So we're going to share more photos from KGW viewers. Plus, we'll get some insight from the Director of Space Science Education at OMSI about these Starlink satellites coming up next here on Sunrise.